All right, welcome. It is Tuesday from the couch.
What up?
All right, so it is Halloween week. It's our special. I am dressed as Andrew Siciliano. Nice to see you both. So Eric and David. Eric, how are you doing tonight?
I am unlimited. How are you, Dave?
Hey, I'm doing good. By the way, I just wanted to let you know, now that he's been reinstated and going to be playing this week, I had to wear the 40 because he's on weighs 4.5. Just for my buddy Eric over here, just to remind him that pretty soon he's going to own one of these jerseys and have to wear it himself. So what's happening, guys?
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Okay, well, anyone, happy Halloween to everyone. Please remember to like, share, notify, and subscribe for all our latest content. And we actually have some very good discussions. I would suggest you all take a minute and join our Facebook page and everything like that. We also have down at the bottom our banner for our merchandise, so you can have this great shirt. Some of the people on our panel have invested in this company, and I thank you. Other people have not, and it's because you're a horrible person, David. So anyway,
I'll get one of each.
I would appreciate that because, once we buy Paoli's sweatshirt, we're gonna have no money left. So let's start off talking about last week's games. There were some really great games. I'm gonna hold off on this first one, but let's talk about Arizona, Miami. That was a complete shocker to me with Tua coming back. Obviously, he hasn't been full participant in practice, but I did not expect Miami, especially the position that they were, to lose like that at the end of the game. Eric, any commentary about the Arizona-Miami game?
I'm not surprised because Arizona's feisty, and they've got some feisty. They've got a team that competes. I like the makeup of the team. I think they got a pretty decent quarterback who I think is very underrated, who is probably watching film this year. Good on him. He looks like it, right?
He does, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm not surprised by the outcome, and I also think it sets Miami up for do or die Sunday. So desperation, because now the Dolphins, they have to, if they're going to make a run, they got to do it. And they have the talent to his back, Waddle, Hill, but they squandered a great opportunity to kind of, because the wild card position is held by the Chargers, squandered a great opportunity to get within a game there. And so now they're 2 games back the rest of the season. And with 5 losses, ideally, they're probably going to have to make a run here at some point and win 7 of the next 10, or they're not going to make it. So these games are now critically important. We get to November, and that does happen when you slack off the first 2 months.
David, any comments?
No, I just want to say I'm not surprised. I mean, look at the fact is Tua's been out since week 2. Probably had about 4 days of practice, really. I don't know what his after he cleared concussion protocol. I don't know what he's been doing, how much he's been taking part besides being there, how much he's actually been taking part in practices. So again, I mean the rush shows, but I mean he played good. I mean, everybody in Miami held their collective breath when he took off and started running again. At least he learned how to slide, at least for the time being. Yes. Again, I think the one thing is, like we talk about any quarterback out there, it's hard. It's hard for any player, doesn't matter what position you are, it's hard for any player to stop doing what they've instinctively done their entire career. So to try to, you can't coach somebody's instincts out of their game. You got to be smart. You got to be aware. Fortunately for him, I mean, he didn't really take many shots, so that was good for him. Again, I just worry about the time that he does take one that's unexpected. So I'm still hopeful for him that nothing happens, but again, until he really takes a shot, I would say that so far so good. Yeah, there is desperation, like Eric said about Miami. There's desperation for the Jets. There's desperation for every team in the AFC East. But the fact is, coming back from 2-6, coming in to a situation 2-6, the odds are stacked against you that any team can come back from 2-6. They're going to have to win, 7 of their last 10 games or so on and so forth. So it's going to be an uphill climb for sure.
Absolutely. And Nick, thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate you taking your time that you have off to listen to our show. We'd love to have you on someday. And then Jennifer, hello. Hey, welcome to the show. The one thing I'm going to say about Arizona, and this is what I don't understand, is they beat teams they shouldn't beat, and they lose to teams that they should beat. It's kind of, beating San Francisco. Yes, the kicker going out was a big problem. But, the only team they have lost to this year that they should have lost to was the Bills. Again, on November 10th, I think they're going to beat the Jets.
Again, Sean, I think the one thing about it, though, is, and look at it, division games, it's not about should have won based on the team. Division games are tough. It doesn't matter what your record is. Doesn't matter whether you're 8-0 going against 1-8 or 1-7 or whatever. In the division, it doesn't matter. The rule books and the what is it? Not the rule books, but the whole comparison contrast between the two teams goes out the window, because these teams know each other inside out, frontwards and backwards, because that's what they play their seasons for. It's winning their division, winning those games. So division games are a whole different animal, completely different animal.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's still it's a little mind-boggling. And Connor, thank you for tuning in. So the next game we want to talk about from last Sunday night, Dallas at San Francisco. San Francisco's got Dallas's number. It just seems like that. Dak cannot beat them. He hasn't beaten them yet. I didn't watch the whole game because, quite honestly, I was busy doing a lot of things and having a couple beers, so I kind of didn't watch the end of it. But it was was it 30-24 or something like that?
Yeah, it wasn't as close as the final score indicated.
I didn't think so.
It's pretty sad when your third string running back is running all over you. Dallas has issues. I mean, I know Micah Parsons being out is a huge deal, but still, that one player should not allow a third string running back to gash you for yards and yards and yards. When you have Isaac Granado or whatever his last name is, I don't even know how to pronounce it. But when he's running all over your team, and Brock Purdy, trust me, Brock Purdy did not look fantastic. He made some mistakes. Deebo Samuel went out of the game again. So again, Dallas is a complete free fall. They're in disarray from their head coach. There's just a lot of issues with that team.
All right, Eric, any thoughts?
Dallas, if they can kind of fix some of these issues. Dak, I went to bed and it was 27-10, and I caught up on what happened. Watched the highlights the next morning. They came back, and he does fight to the end. Something to be said about that. I don't think they're going to contend, but I don't think we've heard the end of it.
The dog. Okay, so I didn't want to talk about this game, and I don't really want to spend a lot of time on it. But yes, Connor, the Jets did deserve to lose. The Jets are a terrible team. I don't really want to devote any time to them on this program. As you can see, I am a Jet fan. This is the most painful Jet team ever. Like last week, I was not myself, and even one of our viewers said, "Hey, what was going on? You were not yourself last week." I was in a massive state of depression after the loss to the Steelers. This loss, honestly, was to me a godsend because the Jets season is over. And you can say, oh, the same old Jets, the same old this, same old that. It's over. This team is done for this year. They're not coming back. They're not going 8-1 and getting the playoff spot. It ain't happening. We can stop talking about them. So
I just want to say, this the way the Jets season is gone, this should be a lesson for every owner, including the Jets owner, that you never turn over the responsibilities of a football team to any one player. I don't care who that player is. I don't care if you're Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers. I do not care. You have gentlemen in the front office that do their job. You have players who play the game. And the Jets made a huge, huge mistake by allowing Aaron Rodgers to take over that team and decide and pick and choose who he wants on his team. So I say good on the Jets. They got what they deserved. That's what I say.
Okay, real quick on that, Nick. See, the problem is that Devontae Adams, Hassan Reddick, all these guys, they're on 1-year contracts, so they're going to end up going. Rodgers could play another year, maybe convince him to come back. But I just want to sum up for everybody here. If you're a Jet fan, don't do this to your children. But anyway, being a Jet fan is like taking a razor blade and putting 1,000 small little cuts in yourself, and then rolling around in a sandbox full of salt, and then getting in a bathtub full of lemon juice to wash it off. And then as you get out of the bathtub, you slip and you fall on the side of the bathtub, but you don't crush both nuts. It's just one. And the problem with that is it's not painful because it hasn't lasted for 58 fucking years. So that's what it sums up to be a Jet fan.
Yep. But I will say one other thing, Eric, and I'll let you speak. I'll just say one thing. What the Jets did with Aaron Rodgers and allowing him to do what he did to that franchise is, and I know people don't want to hear it, and maybe they don't want to talk about it, but what they did is just as bad as what Cleveland did by giving Deshaun Watson $250 million. You set your franchise back about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Eric, go ahead.
Do you want to bag on the Jets, Eddie, or do you just want to move on?
Look, if they beat Houston this weekend, and then they have the Cardinals and the Colts, I'm not ready to sell because Cincinnati has the Chargers in a desperation game, I believe, on the schedule. And if the Chargers drop that game, the Jets are a game out of the wild card. And I think they could go – I still think they could go into who's going to be the highest AFC team outside of Kansas City. Buffalo, they could go into Buffalo. I still think they could win because they had 400 yards of offense and lost that game by 3 points. So, I mean, they moved the ball, and they were in that game in a matchup with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not ready to count them out yet. They're only 2 games out, and that's how bad the bottom of the AFC is. So you've got Kansas City, you've got Buffalo, you got Pittsburgh. Well, Pittsburgh's above Buffalo right now. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Houston right now in the standings. And then everybody else. And Baltimore, sorry. Everybody else. I don't think so.
Disclaimer, this is coming from a guy who thought the New England Patriots would contend in the AFC East.
They are
take it for what it's worth. The Patriots beat the Jets. So now, but the Jets still have a chance. We know how bad the Patriots are, and they lost, and the Jets beat the Patriots beat the Jets. The Jets are done.
Do you realize in a week or two they could be second place in the AFC East?
Who?
I mean, the Patriots.
Yeah, right now, I think with their record,
We're third.
I think they are in second place.
No, they lost to Miami.
Oh, I think they're third. They're third because Miami has one less loss because they had their bye. Otherwise, all things being equal, if they all had the same amount of games played, New England would be in second place. Thanks, Nick. You rock. You are on the From the Couch Hall of Fame wall. I'm putting your name on my wall right now. Right back there.
The point is,
hey Nick.
The point is,
wait, hold on, Nick. Send me a jersey with your name on the back, and I'm going to replace O.J. Simpson, and I'm going to put your name on my wall behind where Simpson is.
It's the profile pic that makes it seem like it's completely legitimate. I love it because he looks like a professional businessman. Like that's it. Like he could be on ESPN saying that shit. Yep. Anyway, great comment, Nick. Okay, Eric, go ahead.
The point is that the Chargers are the 7th seed at 4 wins right now. New England is not out of it. The Jets are not out of it. Miami's not out of it, which makes it very interesting because you're going to have an 8, 9, 7, and 10 team possibly make the playoffs. And there is not a team, including Pittsburgh and Buffalo, that I look at that I'm like, they're great. And they're
well, here's the problem with your argument.
All beatable.
Here's your problem. All those teams still have to play division games. So they're out of it. They're going to beat each other up. New England has to play Buffalo twice. The Jets play Miami, and the Jets play the Jets. Bills play Miami. So,
I mean, they're all going to win some games there. New England's going to beat you once.
Oh my God! Okay, let's go on to the real. Yeah, they might win Week 18 when the Bills are already resting their players. So I'll give you that one.
Bills don't rest the players. All right, so let's move on to the next game, and I'm trying to wait and see if KD is going to come on because I really want him to talk about this game. That was first on my list. Now is going to the last, but we're going to go to the Chicago and Washington game. There'll be more talk a little later on because I have a new little segment that I put together for everyone. I hope you like it. But anyway, great game. The Twitter video, which I can't believe the NFL didn't have. Holy shit. When you got a defender barking at the fans, the ball's been snapped. The guy who eventually caught the Hail Mary was his assignment. And he's out there jerking off.
Well, good for the guy who was, talking with the fans because him too. But here's the deal. The best part about that whole play was that he's the guy who tipped the ball to the guy that he was supposed to be covering. So that was even more poetic justice. That not only was he chirping with the fans on the side, he's the one who decided, hey, I might as well just tip the ball to the guy that I'm supposed to be covering because I'm not covering him anyway. So, but there was a lot more issues to that play. That play should have never happened. That play, the fact that Matt Eberflus allowed Washington to gain another 15 yards the play before. I mean, he's like, I have to guard the end zone. Did you expect a Hail Mary from the 20-yard line? I mean, give me a break. This guy has proven that he should not be a head coach in the NFL. He has I think even Sean McDermott would have played that correctly. I think.
Well, let's not talk crazy.
I know. I'm just saying. I said I think. I didn't say I'm definite. I just said I think.
Well,
it was brutal, Eric.
Well, Dave's horrifying Freudian slip aside, now that Sean and I are now horrified and going to be getting off the show as quick as possible tonight. But no, here's the thing. I'm not mad at the 15 yards. What I will say is coaching knuckleheads sometimes you get a knucklehead. That the dude was a knucklehead. What was funny was there are Bears fans in that video that are like, the ball is snapped, and they're like, go. Yeah. And the Hail Mary is set up perfect. So if I'm coaching a Hail Mary and I ever get in that situation, you want it to be like a volleyball play. So the ball's coming down, and you're not trying to catch it, but ideally you want somebody that's behind, and you're trying to set the ball. And once you set the ball, the guy behind you then, instead of spiking, can catch it. But you treat it like a volleyball situation, but you want to just be able to tip it and have a guy somewhere in the vicinity, either behind, left, or right, and be able to tip the ball left or right to the wide receiver or tight end that's in the Hail Mary. So they set it up correctly. Now the guy who was whatever Dave said he was doing, the guy that was doing
that. Was. I mean,
the guy that was doing that was supposed to box him out, but you still like that situation of a 6'5" receiver versus a 5'11" corner in a volleyball situation after a spike. So it was set at the little nuances of the play. Washington set that up. Good for Washington.
No, absolutely.
It was a hell of a game. It shouldn't have been that close. I mean, KD's still at practice, but hey, at least he's listening. We're about to talk some shit about your team, bud. Anyway, but Washington really controlled that game all day, and it wasn't until the last quarter that all of a sudden Caleb came on, and admirable. I mean, he came out and he brought him back in, and they got up. We're going to talk about a couple of those things later. We're actually not going to bring up the play before the Hail Mary, which absolutely stupidity. You play the umbrella, put your guys around the side of the field and make an umbrella, so they can't go deep. And if they go in, throw to the sideline, they're in bounds. Just stupid play. But it was just a comedy of errors on the last play. And how do you, moving forward, this kid who's out there taunting and doing whatever, I can almost guarantee he's never going to do it again. But that's something that's going to stay with you for the rest of your life as an NFL player. And anytime you're going to switch teams or whatever, people are going to be looking at that. So you better play 100% concentrated football for the rest of your life and say this was a one-time thing. It never happened, because if you ever do something stupid like that again.
I was going to say it'll stick with him until he makes a game-saving or a game-changing play, and then people will move on. It happens. It's the NFL. It was stupid. It was irresponsible. It was lack of discipline. It was all those things.
It was historically stupid.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if Tyreek Stevenson comes out next week and the team's driving and Chicago's up by 2 points and he makes an interception, it'll make up for the bonehead play where Washington won. Yes, they'll remember it. It'll be shown forever on video of the stupid play. But the fact is, from a team standpoint and from his standpoint, all he has to do is be the savior once, and then all's forgiven. So
it is not the butt fumble. So I'm not cursing him with that. But it's going to be up there in the top 10 stupidest plays of all time.
Sure.
No. I think it's better than the butt fumble. I think it's.
You think it's worse?
I think it's worse than the butt fumble, because the fact of the matter is, if you zoom in the video, there is a 70-year-old grandma that is pointing to him to go, and that is funny. Like, watch the video again. There's like a 70-year-old grandma that's like, look, the ball is snapped, and she's like directing him, and it's really funny to watch his facial expression if you zoom into his face, because he's like, oh shit. And it's really fun to watch. It's really funny. Just zoom into their facial reactions and the psychology of the situation. It's really great to watch, and it's funny to watch. It sucks for him. It super sucks, but he'll be fine. He's an NFL player. He's getting paid lots of money. So I'm sure if he's got the talent, he'll make up for it. But the butt fumble was like Sanchez was falling, and I believe the center got pushed back into his face, and his face went into the guy's ass. That's not his fault. It's horrible timing, but it's very funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last game we want to talk about, in KD, you're at practice. So the Baltimore Ravens losing to the Cleveland Browns, who are without a sexual predator behind center. I'm sorry, I said it, and I'm going to say it. But Jameis Winston, before the game, when they're talking to him, laser focused, the Lord is my shepherd. There's nothing else shall want. And that's how he just answered. He was like, this is it. And from where Jameis Winston kind of came from, was standing on the tables at Florida and doing stupid shit. He's shown some maturity. And now they don't even have their best freaking receiver. And he goes out there and he lights it up. And it's because Baltimore has no defense, but that was a shocker. There's nobody who picked the Browns to beat Baltimore.
Well, here's my problem with the whole thing. And this is, I think, the things that we've been saying on this show for 8 weeks, probably 2 years, last year and this year. The fact that Deshaun Watson has been even starting a quarterback was because the enormous amount of money that Cleveland paid this guy. And the fact of the matter is, he wasn't the best quarterback on the team, yet we know who's making the decisions, and that's the owner, because if I'm spending this money, he's going to be on the field. And had he not blown out his Achilles, he would have been on the field this past week. He would have been on the field the week after. He would have been on the field the week after. Because what this goes to show me more than anything else is that the organization in Cleveland, to me, has nothing to do with winning. They don't care if they win. And that's the sad part for the Cleveland fans, because to me that shows their owner is more worried about what his expenditure was for this player as opposed to putting a winner on the team. And that's just my opinion.
Eric, we're going to go to you. Then Nick, we're going to answer that question because that's a great question. So I'll put that back up in a second.
Yeah. So I'll 2 parts. One, Baltimore's issue has not been their offense. So I don't understand why I keep saying it on the chat. I'm glad you said it, that they have no defense, even though KD will ironically forget that. And he'll blame me.
They're 28th in the league in defense.
Yep. And I've been saying that for weeks. And this or that or schedule or whatever. Any quarterback that can throw down the field is going to attack that secondary, and they're not going to stop anybody because their secondary is just not very good. And it's just not a very good defense, which is why, because they throttled Buffalo, you can't put the Baltimore Ravens as a clear-cut AFC team, including Kansas City. There isn't a clear-cut dominant team because the Ravens can be beat because their defense stinks. So the defense stinks. I mean, we moved on to that. So you go out and get Deontay Johnson. Cool. The offense is not the problem. So if they try to make Lamar a throwing guy and they try to make him throw like they did last weekend, how many carries did Henry have, guys?
I think 12. It's 9 or 12.
Oh, I know 12. They didn't give me shit.
12. They gave him 12 carries. So this is Harbaugh's issue on offense. Why did they lose to Kansas City in the playoffs? They didn't run. They didn't. Why did they lose to Kansas City in the AFC Championship game? They threw the ball a lot, and Lamar can't do that. He's not a pure passer. They want to make him. Let's get him all these weapons, have him pass. That's not the way they're going to win. They're going to win running the ball, running RPO, getting Lamar out on the edge, running Henry 25 times. That's how they're going to win games. And so I don't like the Deontay Johnson trade because they have weakness on defense right now. Their defense is the problem. And now they're trying to take the ball out of Henry's hands. If you make Lamar throw 30 times, he ain't going to do it. And he won't. He will never win a Super Bowl if that is the offense, if he has to throw 30 or 35 times.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the question about let's go back to this one because we got 2 questions, one from Nick and one from Michael, which I want to talk about. Eric, you've already talked about how you feel about Deontay. David, what are you thinking?
Well, number one, the fact that Carolina's eaten up all the salary but $600,000. I don't mind the trade. I don't mind the trade because I do think it opens up the field. It gives them a legitimate outside number 2 guy, which will put Bateman in the slot and so on and so forth. But we all know that Baltimore isn't a passing team. What it will do is it will allow for 11 personnel, which will spread out the defense to open up more holes for Derrick Henry. So they don't have to abandon the run like they did against Cleveland. But I will say one thing. I don't think they ever had to abandon the run. I believe that what happens, and some teams are more susceptible and prone to it than others, is when they're losing, they panic. And they try to re-identify themselves during the game as opposed to sticking to what they know and what works. Okay? Derrick Henry should never not touch the ball more than 22 times a game, period. That's why you brought him in. He is your foundation. Every opportunity in the passing game will revolve around Derrick Henry getting the ball 20 times. If you stop him and you relegate him to 9, 12 touches, you've done your job. And that's why you win that game. I think Baltimore abandons their game plan too quick because they panic. I think Lamar Jackson panics. I think that team goes into panic mode. So that's one thing that they need to stop. They need to continue to play to their identity. And like we all know, it only takes one crease in a defense, and Derrick Henry can run 85 yards just like that. He's one of the fastest guys on the field for his size, and a defensive back is not going to take him down. So, I think the panic that Baltimore gets into and allows them to leave their comfort zone, that's their downfall. So I do think they'll be able to play more 11 and spread the defense out, and hopefully that'll give Derrick Henry more opportunities. But I think if people think that he's coming in there because Lamar Jackson's going to start throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game, I don't think that's why they traded for Deontay Johnson.
Right, but are they going to be able to keep those guys happy then if they don't feed them the ball? Then they're going to have disgruntled players, and that's a player who has a history, I know, of not being happy about being involved. And so you've got an issue with that, and then the other issue you have is Harbaugh's game plan is not panic. He thinks he's smarter than everybody. Like, I'm going to go into Kansas City and I'm not going to run at all, and I'm going to throw a bunch. And then they got beat. They didn't get beat because Kansas City was the better team. They got beat because Harbaugh had a terrible game plan and tried to overthink it. And that's the Baltimore Raven problem. But the issue, Deontay Johnson doesn't fix you letting up 400 yards a game and giving up 27 points a game or whatever they're giving up right now. It doesn't fix that. And that's the concern. Their offense is the number one offense in the NFL. So I'm not sure why you're worried about trying to score more or get the ball to Henry, and they do fine whether they have Deontay Johnson or not. He had 12 carries, and that's why they lost.
All right. Well, before we go on to the next question, Eric, you got that Queen jersey that behind you on the wall? Maybe you can switch it out with somebody there, just so KD, if when he's watching, he can see Queen behind, and like how bad this defense is. But you got Queen. Sorry, KD, man. I'm just busting your chops here.
Poor KD, not even here to defend himself. Yep,
and that's why he's going to jump on. He's going to be like, "Hey, Sean, fuck you." Anyway, so the other question. This is a good one. You're the owner.
This was in regards to Deshaun Watson, and here's the. And this is the only answer that I can come up with because it's the only way you can do it. Okay, well, they could have done it a lot easier, but what they did is, again, having the belief that Deshaun Watson was the answer. They signed him to a $250 million guaranteed contract for 5 years, and that was $50 million a year. But because of the salary cap and because of the way things work, they kept renegotiating the contract and pushing salary back. So now you're in a tough spot because you can dump him, you can get rid of him, but it's going to cost you $92 million a year for 2 years, which means that 35 to 40% of your salary cap is going to be eaten up by a guy who's not there. I mean, Denver did it with Russell Wilson, and they've eaten $35 million for the next 2 years, or 42, whatever it is, 89 million or 85 million. So whatever that 37 and 38 and a half or 37 and a half. So it can be done. But the problem is, and to me, if I'm Cleveland, I do that because quite frankly, no matter what you do, you are going, your franchise is 7 years setback anyway, because you're going to be paying this guy for another 2 years. Nobody's going to take him. Nobody's going to take him off the books. Nobody's going to trade for him. No. Yeah. So $92 million is going to be dead salary cap money. The best thing that happened to him is his Achilles. So next year, you don't even have to worry about ever playing him next year. That's just $92 million. So that's basically next year's a dead cap hit anyway, because he's not going to be playing. So you're really only going to be concerned with 1 year at $92 million. So to me, the logical choice, I would dump him. I'd get him off my team, and then I'd start my rebuild, because next year is a dead season. He's not playing at all next year. So you've already wasted one dead cap year. Now you're only going to have one dead cap year left, because he's never going to play in the city of Cleveland again. After what the fans did to him, and after just the backlash of all that, he'll never step foot playing for Cleveland again.
Sean, you want to answer that, or you want me to?
Why don't you go ahead, Eric? I will also. I would just want to expand on. I have an idea for the Deshaun Watson problem. You go ahead and discuss this, because we were getting some great questions tonight, guys. Thank you.
Okay, since we're talking Cleveland, let me put on my.
Oh, Jesus.
Just so everyone knows, one of our sister stations here, the Let's Go Brownies podcast. Eric has, he's let us know that chick's hot. I know she's engaged. I'm sorry, and I keep mentioning it, but it is what it is. So, Eric, besides the hot chick, what do you got to say?
Hey, yeah, so truth. But hey, go check. It's a good show anyways. Go check them out. I'm sure they have insightful things about what Cleveland's going to do, and they're probably more able to answer what's going to go on. But here's the deal. Be serious for a moment. The Cleveland Browns, they have a history of doing this. And so I'm not surprised by any of it. And I think Dave said it right. I think Dave said they aren't serious about winning. One of you guys said that today, which is true. So what's even funnier about all this is I think Dave said that the salary cap is a fictitious number where you can, blah, blah, blah. I believe that was you, Dave.
Sure.
And now
I did. It is.
The truth of it is now there's consequence, and you're about to watch the consequence of it. So, the Browns being the Browns, that's why Sean and I didn't take them serious. Sean and I predicted they would blow up. Sean and I are correct. Well, Dave, I think it was Jeff, actually. Happy birthday to Jeff's wife. He's not here tonight, but I wish he was. But Jeff, they're going to contend with Baltimore for the division. They're got a great defense. They're better than you guys are.
Hey, okay. Why not? Why not? They're 2-6, just like the Jets, Miami, and New England can contend. Why not? Their record is no different.
4 games back of us now.
Well, it doesn't matter. They can still make a wild card. They're still in contention.
They are in contention for a wild card.
Okay. All right, so that's all.
Yeah, but but they're not going to contend for the division.
But that means they'd have to beat Pittsburgh twice, and God forbid that you could even imagine or fathom that they would beat Pittsburgh twice, let alone once. But it can happen. No. So I'm just letting you know, Eric. No.
What's funny is the same guy.
Points a game offensively is too good.
The same guy that was over here talking about salary cap being a fictitious number is going to tell me that Cleveland's going to win twice. Look, Cleveland's going to be competitive, and they're going to be feisty because with Winston, he is mature. He says some really funny stuff, but he's mature, and I think they may be a team that can make a wild card, because anybody can in the AFC. The Chargers have 4 wins, and they're only 2 games back, so that opens it up for everybody to get hot. Now, we have a lot of questions going on, so I'm trying to answer all of them. Okay. Sean, I guess you can handle that. But moving forward, I'm going to give it back to you with what we want to do with Watson, then we can answer some of the questions that are going on in the chat.
And then, Sean, you can do yours. You can do your thing. I just got to answer Eric about the fictitious salary cap. But go ahead. You can do. I'll answer it later.
Okay. All I'm going to say is the Deshaun Watson problem gets solved. It can be solved with a package deal. If somebody trades Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson, and they can eat some of both their contracts to a team that can afford it, they're going to get a premium defensive player, and they're going to get somebody that's just gone. you're not ever going to get rid of Deshaun Watson on his own. No one's going to take it. You'd have a better chance of getting Colin Kaepernick back in the league than Deshaun Watson at this point.
I have a solution real quick, Sean, thinking about that. You got me thinking. What if Cleveland now, there's something legal that comes up and Cleveland finds a loophole out of his contract because of illegality of some sort of civil or criminal matter that happens here.
They would have already done it.
That could have happened, but the lady settled the lawsuit so that the NFL, she signed an NDA, so the NFL can't make her testify or find out. So yeah,
I was thinking
that could have happened,
but it just no.
Here's the thing about the fictitious salary cap, and then we can move on to other questions. So it is fictitious, and what I mean by that is, as you move salary back, okay, you got to remember each year your cap number goes up and up and up. So if you were to take, okay, TJ Watt, prime example, I'll take your star player, TJ Watt. He needs to be paid. He needs to sign a $200 million contract because he's that good of a defensive player, and they have to give him all this money, and they're strapped to the salary cap. So he signs a 5-year extension. They give him, $50 million signing bonus. That's prorated over the 5 years of the contract plus his salary. Okay. So every year that salary cap number goes up in terms of real dollars, but because the salary cap goes up along with it, that minimizes the percentage of salary cap that you're using for that player. Yes, he's still getting that money, but every year your salary cap expands and expands and expands. And it works for people like that. It doesn't work for a guy who gets a guaranteed contract because remember, not all of TJ Watt's contract is guaranteed. So you have voidable years and so on and so forth that balloon the value of this contract. With Deshaun Watson, his contract being guaranteed, there is no escape clause. The only thing they can do is keep pushing that down the line, but it does come due. So that was Cleveland's mistake. And that's why everybody in the NFL was pissed at Cleveland, is because now all these players wanted guaranteed contracts, and you can't do it because the longer you push that down the line, the more salary cap percentage is taken up by that guy, because every time they have to renegotiate dollars, those are guaranteed real dollars because they're not adding extra years and extra fake money. They're pushing his money as a signing bonus. So every year that just increases the real dollars that have to be paid next year. Now in Deshaun Watson's case, it blew up in their face because he's trash. He's garbage. And now they got to eat that money. So it can work fictitiously for the most part, but in Deshaun Watson's, it's not.
All right. We're going to get off this and go on to the next segment. But before we do, Micah Paoli this weekend. Oh my God. I got so many messages from him, and he had to do audio because he couldn't fucking type because he was so drunk, which I loved. He's like, woo, woo. I'm like, you sound like a big choo-choo train. Anyway, so it was a crazy game. Philadelphia's defense finally showed up and took down Joe Burrow a little bit, which I have them in the Cancun room, and I was worried that they were going to climb out, but I think they just cemented their status in there. So we're going to go to the news segment now, unless anyone has anything to say or any more questions to be answered at this point. Here we go.
The idiot coaching decisions of the week.
Idiot. That's the stupidest combination I ever heard in my life.
What are you, ignorant?
Are you stupid or something?
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
One of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point could be considered a rational thought.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You are a fucking idiot.
Okay. I complain about this every week, and Dan Campbell would be like the poster child for this, but actually he's not on this week. He could have gotten on because he did not make all the best decisions. But I want to start talking with Eberflus. And I'm not talking about the Hail Mary. I'm not talking about the play before the Hail Mary. I'm talking about they are on the 1 or 2 yard line, and they try to hand the ball off to a backup offensive lineman who's never carried the ball. What? And that ball, like, he went to hand it off. That thing looked like it was shot out of a fucking cannon to the back of the end zone. Like, what? Like, you're in the middle of a game and you're losing, and this could put you ahead, and you decide, oh, let's give it to someone who's never touched the ball before. What are you thinking? How can anyone please justify this to me in any way, shape, or form?
There's no excuse. I mean, I could understand if you were going to fake it and you were going to sneak Kyler or Caleb Williams behind him, open up a hole, do the fake, and then do it, because at least your best guy has his hands on the ball. But to actually try to hand it off to the lineman when a lineman's stomach sticks out farther than his hands do, so his stomach hits the ball before his hands hit the ball, that just makes no sense to me whatsoever. There's no excuse for it. Again, like you said, dumb, idiot coaching decisions that coaches try to outthink themselves. It was funny. I listened to an interview with Dave Wanstead, the former coach of the Bears, and he goes, I'm a really a believer in Matt Eberflus, but when I hear that call come down from the offensive coordinator and I'm the head coach, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I call timeout and say, what the hell kind of play are you calling? This is not happening at the 2 yard line when we have the opportunity to take the lead right now. So, I guess there's a way to trust your offensive coordinator a lot, but sometimes you got to rein them in a little bit. So not bright. Eric.
It was stupid. I don't have much to say. It was dumb. It was fun, but it was dumb. It's one thing when you're Campbell and you're up by like 30 points and you're like, "Fuck you, Dallas," and I want to.
I'm gonna have my running back throw to my guard.
When you're up 30 points, it's another at that stage of the game. But here's the crazy thing: is despite all that, they still needed a Hail Mary to lose. If I'm Chicago, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going home and I'm like, man, that's a game that if they come down to the end of the year and they're a game out of something, they're going to be like, oh, this game. So it's funny. It was a fun weekend. We just had a lot of fun things happen. So, that's another fun one.
If I was a Chicago fan and my girlfriend's a Chicago fan, so hence I'm a Chicago fan. I'm watching this whole thing, and first they're like, "Oh, they're going to try a refrigerator Perry thing," with the Bears. I'm like, "Oh, okay, this could be interesting." And then all of a sudden, bang! That ball came out. I was like, "This is like a game you don't want to sober up from." This is just a comedy of errors, and how do you come back from that? And hopefully they will this week, and they'll do something. But it was an absolutely brutal series of events in the last 5 minutes of this game that should never have happened.
Sure.
Okay. Number 2, Seattle, first quarter, they're down 7-3. They intercept the ball. They get down, and they get stopped 3rd and goal. So they're at the 3 yard line. They're at home, 7-3 in the first quarter, and they decide to go for it from the 3, which Geno Smith ends up getting his foot stepped on. He falls over. Nothing happens. They don't get it. You're playing the Buffalo Bills. Why aren't you at that point just kicking the damn field goal, going down 7-6? You're only down by a point. Now they're down by 4 because they didn't make it. I can see it was the end of the game and they didn't have time on the clock. But it's too early to make these decisions. You don't take points off the board unless you absolutely have no other choice. So can anyone justify this one?
Yes, I can. I disagree with you because it is early in the game. and you just got a turnover, and you're at the 3-yard line. Unfortunately, his foot was stepped on. If not, that play might have worked. I don't know what the play was going to be, but it might have worked. And the fact is, it was negated by a stupid mistake by a guard who was trying to get out of the line earlier to avoid the rush. So I don't think that was a stupid thing, because you are the home team, and the fact that Buffalo came down on that first drive and put a 15-play drive together to score a touchdown, and you're down 7-3. And now you intercepted that ball deep in the territory, and you have the opportunity to go up. You do it because you are home, and you want to take the momentum away from the team that had the momentum up until your wide receiver slipped and they threw an interception, which, hey, congratulations, Josh Allen threw an interception. Now I don't have to talk about him as the only quarterback who doesn't have one. I didn't think he was ever going to go through the entire season without throwing one. So, no, like I said, if I was Seattle, I would have done the same thing. I don't think that was a stupid thing. I think it only was stupid because it didn't work. I mean, if it works, it's brilliant, but I don't think at that time of the game, because look at, if you fail, you're forcing the other team to have to drive 97 yards down on you, which Buffalo ended up doing. But how many teams drive 97 yards down on you? So yeah, it's a 14-point swing at that point. But
you're forgetting about fucking jet.
I think from the standpoint of the risk to reward, I think the reward was definitely higher than the risk at that point. I mean, it didn't turn out that way, obviously. But if it would have been me after the turnover, I probably would have gone for it too. Eric, your thoughts?
I'm okay with going for it. I mean, it is what it is. You had Buffalo was a game early on that they sent a message that they're going to score points, and so you want to send a message back that we're going to score points. Didn't work out for them. It was a really rough game for Seattle. Probably more. Which one is he talking about?
The one on you.
The one you're wearing.
Oh, the one I'm not wearing one, but he must be talking about the Queen one or the
Penguins.
No, I just got the Steelers coat.
It's pajamas, Mike.
Yes, yes, I've got my pajamas on. But it is what it is. So I'm not mad at it. Are we going to get to the Giants play on the 2-point conversion?
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope you brought that up.
That's next.
Okay, good. Because
I'm ready for that one.
That was funny shit.
Anyway, you guys can say you're okay with it, but you don't take points off the board. Points are at a premium in this game. You know what? You want to take a chance? Take
Not
it later.
for Buffalo, they scored 31.
Well, hey, put yourself down by 1, not by 4. Make it a 1-score game. Because even if it ended up being 14 to 6,
Seattle would have lost 31-13. Damn it!
You don't know what would happen. That is defeating to a team. Anyway, so that's why we bring these up. I think they're idiots. You guys don't. But fact is,
I'm kidding.
I'm always right. So, okay, so here it goes. This is the last one for this one. And this is Giants are down by 14. They get a touchdown, and this is in the fourth quarter. 8 minutes left, something like that. And we had this same fucking discussion last week about the New England Patriots in London. You don't go for 2. You go for 1. You put yourself down by 7. Now, all of a sudden, you don't make it, which they didn't. Now you're down by 8. A field goal, now you're down by 2 scores. It doesn't. You don't have a team. The Giants are not a team that is built to come back from a deficit with very little time left. They just don't do it. They haven't for years, and they're not going to. Eric, what the fuck?
So I agree. Take the extra point and make it a 7-point game. Now, I mean, the 8-point lead makes you have a little pressure because you're like, if I don't make this 2-point conversion, I need to get the ball back. So that that changes your play calling up a little bit. But how about the play call? It was terrible. It was bad. Nobody moved, and Highsmith is like, okay. I mean, he just comes over.
The only two people who knew that play was happening was the center and the quarterback.
Yeah,
everyone else was like, "What are they
calling?" Kind of saunters into the running back and knocks it away.
I'm surprised he didn't intercept the pass and like take it back for 2 points, because
if he thought it was for real, I think he would have. I think he watched it happen, and I think he's like, "This can't be really happening." And then
if he had intercepted it and ran it back, that would have been priceless.
I mean, I'm watching this because I was working, so I didn't see it, but I'm watching the replays, and Devin Singletary and the entire offensive line that moved over there to block, like, I don't think they could hear the quarterback's signals because they were like this looking at him, and Daniel Jones already had the ball in his hand, like, and they're looking at him like, what the hell are you doing? And what's his name? Cam Sutton is standing next to Malik Neighbors like, hey, how's it going, buddy? And these guys are just sitting there like, oh, the play started? I mean, even the frontline centers, the front line didn't even move. I was just like,
people moved on that play.
We had a really, really fun week of football, and that was like the cake to it. There were just so many like goofy ass things that happened. And so, I mean, it was just, I can't believe that Jones just kind of threw it half-assed too. He's just like, well, fuck it. And he threw it. It was just bad. I mean, it almost reminded me of, do you remember when the Colts had McAfee line up behind a safety on that?
Yeah, and he snapped it like, oh shit. I think I should snap this now.
Was like, are you really doing this? I mean,
it looked like the same fucking formation.
I know. I was like, I mean, if you want to get a 2-point conversion, you should probably disguise it a little better than your entire offensive line standing in front of the wide receiver.
It's still bad. Like the play happened. The center snapped the ball, so the center moved. Daniel Jones caught it and then threw the pass out. The defender came and just knocked it down. Malik Neighbors, I don't think moved. And nobody else moved, like nobody. Right. And it was like, did someone call a timeout or something? It was embarrassing. And I'm not a Giant fan, but that's going to go up there in stupidest plays. So every week, everyone watch. Keep giving me ideas for this. But yes, these are some of the things that we have to put up with. And yes, they are the idiot coaching decisions of the week. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now let us move on to talking about some of the next week's games that are going to be interesting. So we're going to do pick them after, but let's get the discussion of the games out of the way. Number one for me is Dallas at Atlanta. I think this is going to be a good game. I'm not going to make my decision on who's going to win yet, but I can see either team coming out with this, and Dallas and Atlanta are in such a position now that this is a huge game for them. David, what are your thoughts on this game?
I don't think this is going to be a good game. I think Dallas is going to get destroyed. They can't stop the run. I don't know if Micah Parsons is coming back, but that team is in total disarray. And, you know, when you look at what San Francisco did to them running the ball, and now you have to deal with Kirk Cousins, who does phenomenal out of play action, and you have Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, who can run the ball both extremely well. And Dallas hasn't done anything to address anything that are their issues. And the sad reality is Dak Prescott's going to have to throw the ball 35 to 40 times in that game. And we know the outcomes of that when Dallas has to throw like that because they have no running game whatsoever. None. I don't think this is going to be a good game. The key storyline for me is, does Mike McCarthy get fired after this game? Because he should have been fired 3 weeks ago. So I'm hopeful that Jerry Jones comes to his senses. I'm sure he won't, but something's got to change for Dallas because the way they're getting beat, it's not just that they get beat, it's the way they get beat week in and week out. Eric, I'll send it to you for any thoughts.
I don't have a lot of thoughts, so we can move quickly. I think Dallas will be desperate, so I think it will be a good game. These are professional teams who are going to be facing, elimination at week like 9 and 10. So I think they need to win. Belichick in Dallas sounds like something that Jerry Jones would do, though I think he ends up in New York. But I think it's going to be a good game because there's going to be a lot of desperate teams. And the dangerous thing is when you're really good and you play a team that's dangerous, you get their best shot. The Steelers weren't great last night because they got the Giants' best shot. The Giants were desperate. Right? So this desperation thing has something to it. And we can dismiss it based on records, but these are still professional teams where I do feel like you'll get Dak's best shot here. Whether that's enough or not, we'll get to my picks.
All right. This is going to be a good game. Atlanta being at home, I do give them a little bit of an advantage, a lot of bit of an advantage. But real quick, Nick, great question. Bill Belichick in Dallas next year. I honestly think that with Jerry's entanglement in the team and being a GM or whatever, I think that's a problem. It'd be exactly like he will never go to the Jets, and he will never go to Miami or Buffalo I don't think he'll go to Dallas because of that. But Jerry is as we've seen this year, is so senile. He'd be like, I have a great idea. What was my idea again? And then Bill could just whisper in his ear and he could do it. So it is possible. I don't think it's probable. I think Dallas is such a mess. Bill's not going to get himself in. And no offense, but he's got a 24-year-old girlfriend, so he needs all the energy he can get.
Let's go the Agra commercial.
Oh, God. He would be a great spokesman. Okay. So we got that going for us. Let's put it together. So then the next game, Miami at Buffalo. I don't think this is going to be a game. I don't think this is going to be a game whatsoever. But you wanted to talk about it. So, Eric, go ahead. Start talking.
We'll get to my picks, and I'll explain. It'll make the picks segment quicker. But here's the thing. So if Tua is salvageable, we're going to find out this weekend because if they lose, for the sake of Tua, they should sit him the rest of the year because they're probably going to be about 3 games, possibly 2 or 3 games out. If they fall 3 games behind, it's going to be rough with the division. Miami has gotten their butts kicked by Buffalo over and over again, too. And you believe in that locker room that they're thinking about that. That Buffalo came down, beat their butts, beat them the year before, has just been smoking them left and right. Eventually, little brother gets pissed off, and big brother, they give it to big brother a little bit. So if it's going to happen with your season on the line, it's going to be a game. Now, whether or not I pick them, we'll get to my picks when we get them.
Yeah, no, I mean, the problem is it's been 6 years of big brother smacking little brother, and nothing's changed. I'm not going to say that this isn't going to be a good game. I'm not going to sit here and say it's Buffalo, blah, 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 because it is. Tua presents a challenge. Tua does that. Tua's a good quarterback. I'm not taking anything away from Tua or that team. Devon and Shane, again, right now, with the exception of last week, because Buffalo came out and played a really strong game, has struggled against teams with good running games, okay, historically and for the most part this year. They bottled up Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Geno Smith was the leading rusher, and he got most of his yards on the last drive when they scored that touchdown. But Buffalo does have an Achilles heel against the run. So, again, the one thing I will say in this game, the tone is going to be set, and it's going to be set early for whoever it is. I look at this game that you're right, Eric. this is a game that Miami, if they lose, for the sake of Tua and the longevity of his career, the discussion really should be maybe we shut him down for the year, let the year play out, let us get an early pick next year, let us retool what our weaknesses are through the draft, and let's go back into the season with a 100% healthy quarterback and not leave him out to be injured further or permanently or whatnot. So I agree with that. I agree with that take wholeheartedly.
All right. This is not going to be a game. This is going to be a slaughter. Buffalo was at Miami when this thing happened to Tua. It wasn't a pretty game. They just manhandled them. They're going to manhandle them again. Miami's defense is not good.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Hey, Pioli, we're not doing the picks yet, so you didn't miss anything. We're just talking about the games for next week that are going to be good, but we're not doing any picks yet.
And because Paley's my brother, I don't really want to talk about this game, but we're going to be just because Jacksonville at Philly, you got Peterson coming back after getting fired and winning the Super Bowl, getting fired, and he's coming back. I think he's got a great storyline, and Jacksonville has started to play a little better. I think they're done, but
this has got a great storyline for Doug Peterson.
Yes,
that's it, because Christian Kirk is out, Brian Thomas Jr. is out. He's out 2 to 4 weeks. They have Zay Jones, maybe. ETN might come back. This game is going to be over by 12 minutes into the first quarter. I think Saquon Barkley has 100 yards by the middle of the second quarter. This game is over. The only storyline is, does Doug Peterson survive after this loss? That's the only storyline I can see.
This feels like a game like the Giants put up against Pittsburgh where they compete, but it ends up being too much for Jacksonville. This feels like a 27-13 kind of game.
Okay. All right. So the next one, we're going to talk about some crazy, stupid games. Chargers at Cleveland. Now, 2 weeks ago, I would have said Chargers, you're going to win this. I don't think so. I mean, this is and this is the Chargers are holding the bottom spot in the wild card right now. This game could have a lot of implications for everyone. Eric, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so Winston did what Dalton did, but Winston's going to end up like Dalton because they're the similar type story, and so it's going to end up eventually teams will, hey, let's play cover 3, let's play cover 4, 2 safety high. Let's go ahead and make sure that nothing gets behind us. Let's make Winston methodically drive and then shut him down. The problem with Baltimore is they're idiots and they just let single high coverage one-on-one, and Winston was able to expose that. They've been doing that over and over again because they're stubborn. But I don't expect it to continue. The Chargers have a really good defense and they're good after Winston. I think it'll be a game. I think Cleveland's season's online. I think Cleveland comes out with their season online. I think Cleveland plays hard. But it's still – I don't think the team around Winston is great other than Jerry Jeudy. I don't trust him yet. But if Cleveland wins and they get some momentum, look out. I mean, because there'll be a game out of the wild card, and they'll come hard the rest of the year. So it's an interesting game. It'll probably be the game of the week. It'll be a good game. But the Chargers, let's not forget, they are the number 1 defense right now in football.
That's not the game of the week, but it could be a very good game.
I think it's going to be a good game, and I think the difference in this game comes down to the last name Harbaugh. And what I mean by that is John Harbaugh tries to outcoach himself. Jim Harbaugh knows exactly what he has, and he knows that his team goes through the running game, and they're not going to abandon it because they don't have the horses to throw the ball around. They're gonna use their running backs. They're going to pound. They're going to pound Cleveland. They're going to continue to pound Cleveland, and they're going to continue to pound Cleveland. And then when they have their shots, Justin Herbert is a great quarterback to take those shots. Ladd McConkey's been coming on the last couple weeks. I think Quentin Johnson might be back this week. So again, I think what you're not going to see from Harbaugh is a stray from a game plan. He's not going to try to outcoach himself. He knows what his team's strengths are, and he's going to continue to play to those. And I think because of that, this game is going to be very interesting. And I think that, I believe that Cleveland does have the horses on offense. A lot of unsung guys, Cedric Tillman, the wide receiver, Nick Chubb is coming back into form. Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku. So again, they're formidable. And then Jameis Winston brings a different dynamic to the quarterback position. So, and to Eric's point, San Diego does have the number one defense. But I do like this game. I do like this matchup. I think it's going to be. I wouldn't say it's the game of the week, but it's one of the top matchups of the week where the teams are pitted equally. So the outcome is it's definitely one to think about because it's really a close game based on talent on both sides of the ball. Yes, he is still on Cleveland, Nick.
Yeah, Chargers Cleveland. This is going to be a crazy game. This is where we're going to see if Jameis Winston has the medal, and if he can come out. I'm sorry, I'm clapping. I always get upset with Eric. So I apologize for that, folks. Good game. It's not going to be the game of the week. Game of the week is going to come last, but this is going to be a very good game. And it was, honestly, it's two teams that really aren't doing that well, but it has implications. So definitely worthy of a note.
Oh, sure.
Here's a terrible game, but it could be interesting. New England at Tennessee Titans. Now you got the Tennessee Titans, who are a top 5 defense, except for last week when they got pounded for 438 points. But these are two terrible teams. But if New England wins this one, because the Jets are going down, Miami's going down, Jets could be – look at him. He's walking away. You can walk away, Eric, but the truth will follow. David.
You're right. I don't have much to say about this game because I'm really not concerned in the grand scheme of things. It'll be interesting to see if Will Levis comes back in after his 2-week hiatus, if he's learned anything or if he can bring some fresh juice to that team. But other than that, I could care less. I really could.
Okay, Eric. He's already on.
Eric's like ditto.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Dave. It'll be really interesting. I've been getting into DraftKings lately, and it'll be really interesting to see what kind of like spreads happen here because this will be a wild game to try to gamble on.
I'd love to see if the over/under is like under 18.
Yeah, like 20 points. I mean, it's going to be. But I can tell you that the first time I'll probably notice it is if like somehow CBS comes on and is like, holy crap, this game is amazing. And next thing you know, it's like a 42-45 game and things are going nuts. But otherwise, I don't think so. I NFL Sunday ticket, I've got it. Not using it for that one.
Is this the game from Germany?
This game in multi-view, I think, is a game we need to pay attention to.
Wait, is this the game from Germany?
No, that'll be the Panthers and Giants, I think.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, that's in a couple weeks. Like
the over/under for the game is 37.5, by the way. Everybody in betting land, bet the under.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that all these games we have in London and Germany and everything, that's just the United States fucking with these people from World War II still. I mean, I realize it's been a long time, but we're still fucking with it. So
Hey,
that is it.
we're sending you the Panthers and the Giants.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody getting up early for that game.
It's like, hey, why don't you clean these latrines and we'll be at the bar.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So the second to last game. This is not the game of the week again. We're not there yet, but we're close to it. Denver at Baltimore. Now this one has got me freaking. I don't know what the hell. I don't know where to pick. You got Baltimore, who's put up a ton of points, but you got Denver, who just doesn't allow it, and Bo Nix right now is going freaking crazy. What? Can anyone make sense of this? Go ahead, David. Start.
I'm just going to say this is an interesting game, and this is a tough game because Denver's defense is phenomenal. And with the emergence of Bo Nix the last couple of weeks, the fact that he can beat you with his feet and in the air, nobody talks about the Denver wide receivers. Not that there's a lot to talk about, but Tony Franklin's playing pretty good ball. You still have Cortland Sutton, who can pretty much catch anything close to him. And Bo Nix has been making really good decisions with the football, and he's being able to move the chains with his legs to make sure that the drives are sustainable and they're coming away with points. Again, the biggest thing that Baltimore has to do is what I call panic and not move away from what's got them there in the first place. If you keep a game closer or ahead against Baltimore, they panic and they try to make and recreate their offense on the fly. And as I said in the beginning part of this show, you cannot do that. You can't. You are Baltimore. That is your identity. Be who you are. Own it, live it, win with it, and lose with it. When you try to reinvent the wheel on the fly, half the time you end up with a flat tire or you get the wrong wheel. Play to your strengths, period. That's just it. Oh, shut up, Sean.
I have to address our fans' questions, and I am just making sure geography is correct.
There is a floating island of garbage near the Hudson River. It's called New Jersey, where your Jets play.
London will have the Jaguars. Germany will have the Panthers. And Canada's got the Bills. So I mean, he is correct. As far as the game's concerned, does Baltimore address their secondary? And Bo Nix is hot. And do they give Derrick Henry the ball? If the answer is no on either one of those accounts, they're going to lose. If Derrick Henry has 12 carries and they're like, oh, we got Deontay Johnson and we got Zay Flowers and we got Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, and we're just going to go 5 wide and we're going to line the tight ends up in the slot, they will get beat. Because Jeff has said it, I've said it, I think Dave said it. The idea is if you throw 40 times with Lamar and he's throwing 40 times a game, you won't win. That's not who they are. But if you go and you do RPO and you're like, Lamar, you decide if the outside linebacker's crashing. If he's crashing, take the ball and run to the outside. If he's staying home, run up the middle. If they do that, and they do that 20 times, they're going to be pretty good. And they did. They had success against the Chiefs. Their success this year has been running the ball. Buda Baker would be dangerous. I mean, that would be a great fit for Baltimore.
That would be great, Nick.
That would be fantastic. But
I'd rather see him in Buffalo, Nick.
How much assets do they have left after making these trades? Because I mean, Baltimore is using their assets right now. But the real key will be Derrick Henry, and we'll get to our picks when we get them.
All right. So, wow, great question, Nick. Okay, so this is going to be the game of the week, without a doubt. There's no other game that compares to this one. Detroit at Green Bay. Now, this, if anyone come up with a better game, and no.
Is Jordan Love healthy? I mean, I know he had a groin injury, but is he questionable?
He's questionable.
That can take the game of the week and turn it upside down.
It absolutely could. It could flush it down the toilet.
Yeah.
But if these two, if they come out, And it's because it's in Green Bay. If it was in Detroit, I don't think this would be such a great game, especially if Jordan Love is hurt. But being in Green Bay, incredible. You're talking. This decides who's in front in the NFC North, and it's going to carry a lot of weight. Eric,
Well, I'll just say this. I think the good thing about Detroit in this game. Sorry, I didn't know where he was pointing. I'll just say the good thing about Detroit with this in this scenario is I think the one thing that Detroit has done is built themselves as a team who can play inside and outside because they got a hell of a running back. They got the 1-2 combination. When you have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs running the ball, you don't need Jared Goff to throw the ball 25, 30 times a game. You got Montgomery, who's used to the cold weather, playing in Chicago. Okay, he played in Chicago for the beginning part of his career, so weather doesn't affect him. He's a hard-nosed runner. This game is the game of the week if Jordan Love is playing. Because if Jordan Love is playing, all the assets from the wide receiver standpoint and the running game, you can't take nothing away from Josh Jacobs either. Josh Jacobs is one of the best running backs in the league. So, again, I think both these teams match up well. Did Detroit take a hit from losing Aiden Hutchinson? Absolutely. I mean, there's just no doubt about it, and they haven't addressed it yet. It is. It's a tough game to call. It's a tough game to predict. But yeah, I agree with you, Sean. I think it probably is the game of the week, especially being NFC North, and elevating one team over the other significantly, vice versa. So I think it's going to be a great game. Eric.
So I'll be quick, and we'll get to our picks here quickly. LaFleur and Malik Willis have done really well together this year. That combination of LaFleur coaching, and he's really got the best out of Malik, and the Packers haven't been bad when they've had to rely on Malik Willis. And so you lose your best pass rusher, your best contained guy, your best guy that's going to sit with a quarterback like Malik Willis. I think that's going to present a challenge. More of a challenge. Love is more of a stationary quarterback. Malik can move, and now you don't have the guy that can set the edge and contain, and you lose that. Sure, they've got a guy that's going to come in and try to do it, but probably not to the level of Aiden Hutchinson. So I think let's not sleep on Malik Willis here.
Oh, no.
All right, and I agree because Malik Willis has done nothing but win. So, I mean, every game he started, he's won. Every game he's come in, the first game when he went out, that doesn't count. But anyway, so we're done talking about the games of next week. We're going to start doing the pick'em, and I just got a hot message through the private chat. David has so graciously said, anybody who is still listening, if they go and do their picks, if they score better than David on these picks this week, he will buy you from the couch Sports Talk Radio T-shirt. Amazing. The generosity of this man. So while we're picking, you all have to pick, and we will get you, if you can beat David, which okay.
My 5 and 12. Look at it should be Eric. He hasn't friggin' won. I'm ahead of him.
You are ahead of him, and by quite a lot.
I know.
Just to let you all know, the order has been restored. I fell behind, and I was tied with KD. Now Nick's
talking crap. Nick's talking crap in the chat. He's already saying too easy.
Okay. So actually, I'm going to change this up because I can't keep track of everybody. I'll try to keep track of everyone, but I was going to say, if you would please send your picks to ftcsports1@gmail.com. It has to be done before the start of Thursday's game. Send all your picks into ftcsports1@gmail.com. We will have them. They will be blocked. And if you beat David, you will get an FTC from the couch.
Pioli don't count because he beats my ass every week. That's not fair.
Paoli is kicking the shit out of you. Paoli, you do not count this one. You've already won the sweatshirt, but you need to keep going.
What more do you want from me? Damn it.
So anyway, Nick, Mike, everyone, get your picks in before the start of Thursday's game to us and beat David and win your shirt. Okay, so here we go. Pick'ems. Okay, so we got Houston at the Jets. Let's start with David.
Wow. Houston lost Stephon Diggs for the year. Nico Collins is out. I'm taking Houston. The Jets are not a team; they're individuals. And are they playing at Houston or the Jets?
At the Jets.
Oh shit! Never mind, because half of Houston's team is going to get injured on that freaking crappy field. Give me the Jets at home.
Okay, I'm taking Houston. Eric.
I got the Jets.
Okay. And Paoli is gay.
Yeah, that's what he said. He goes, "I'm gay."
All right, so we'll move on to the next one, which is to me Dallas at Atlanta. It's hard.
Pioli's got the Jets. Dallas and Atlanta.
Mike does make picks for me because he likes me, but I didn't even pick the Jets. You said gay to the hoodie. You already got the hoodie. You just can't win the sweatshirt the T-shirt this week. The hoodie is yours. All right, relax.
So who'd you take?
Nick
took the Jets.
Atlanta. I don't have any faith in the Jets.
Nick took the Jets.
Okay, I got Nick. Eric.
I've got the Cowboys in desperation here.
Okay.
I'm taking Atlanta.
All right. Nick's got Atlanta.
Mike wants the T-shirt.
He wants it all, man. I'm
damn T-shirt.
Holding his whole family here.
Well, if you don't give us your pick, then you get 0.
If we go to Philadelphia, and I go through every year, I'm going to stop at the Goodwill in Philadelphia. And Mike, if I find a bunch of from the couch sports talk radio stuff at the Goodwill, man, I'm going to find you while I'm there. Just FYI.
We know where it's coming from, Mike. Giving our shit to Goodwill.
All right. So Paoli hasn't gone on yet. He's had plenty of time, but okay. So Eric, Miami at Buffalo.
I'm going Miami.
Hence your 68
it's gonna be a good
92
game.
record.
But Josh Allen owns Miami. I'm taking Buffalo.
Okay. I am also going Buffalo.
Hey, you see, Nick took Miami.
Nick is taking Miami. And Paoli's taking the Bills.
He's a hater.
Okay, so Vegas at Cincinnati.
Vegas at Cincy? I'm taking Cincy because they're at Cincy.
I agree with that.
Suck.
Eric?
I've got the Bengals.
Okay. And we'll wait for the comments. We're 7 seconds ahead, so that's why sometimes it takes a second.
Mike's taking the Bengals.
Okay, the Bengals. And we'll grab Nick as soon as he okay. Nick's got the Raiders.
I don't think Nick wants this T-shirt very bad.
Or maybe. Yeah, maybe.
We all got blanked on 5 games last week. Like the only games I lost were the ones we all got blanked on.
Oh, I know.
Okay, so then we got Chargers at Cleveland. This is on me. I am going to go with Cleveland because I think the Chargers are dog shit. Eric.
This is a hard one. Chargers defense is good. I think they have the better coach. I'm going to go Chargers.
All right.
You know, if this game was in LA,
or San Diego, as you said before.
No, they're not. They're in LA.
German for whale's vagina.
But no, because they're at home and LA has to travel, man, this is such a hard game, but I'm going to take Cleveland in a very, very close game. This is going to be like one of them last-second field goal games, one way or the other, but I'm going to take Cleveland.
All right, Paoli's got the Chargers, and Nick has got the Browns. Okay, so here we go. New England at Tennessee. And this is to Eric.
You, of course, give me the crappy one. New England at Tennessee.
Tie.
Yeah.
God, I got Tennessee 5 to New England's 3.
If you call a tie and you get it correct, you get Tennessee wins.
I go right to the top of the board.
Yeah,
you call it tie.
A great desperation move right now as I'm in
I know. That'd be a great desperation move for you, Nick, because you're or Eric, because you're like at the bottom of the barrel.
I'm gonna go with the common sense. I'm gonna go Titans 5, New England 3.
I'm going to take New England. I think Gerard Mayo calling them soft, beating the Jets last week, gave them a little confidence. And they're going against the Titans team that gave up 120 yards and still gave up 50-some points. So, yeah, I'm going to go New England in this game.
I'm also going to go New England because Tennessee already traded away all their wide receivers. And I understand they got Pollard and they got I can't even remember. Mason Rudolph. I still think that the Patriots can overcome it. And Tennessee is just a terrible, terrible team. Okay, so Nick and Hot Pockets have New England also. David, to you, Indy at Minnesota.
Minnesota. I mean, I know Joe Flacco makes a difference. We didn't talk about Anthony Richardson getting benched for being tired and taking himself out of the game, which is a gutless move for a quarterback. You call timeout if you're that tired. You never bail on your team. And I know Joe Flacco, but is a good quarterback. But Minnesota is just Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Addison, T.J. Hawkinson's coming back this week. I'm taking Minnesota.
I don't need to talk that long about it, Minnesota. Eric?
Yeah. Here's the thing. If Minnesota would have won last week, they might have caught them sleeping. But Minnesota's lost a couple here. And I think they're going to be ready to roll. So I got the Vikings.
All right.
Nick and Hot Pockets took Vikings.
Yeah, so I got Vikings for both. Yeah, Nick, and thank you. So they know we have them.
Yeah. So everybody, if Jeff and Katie take Vikings, this will be the game that we get blanked.
Yeah, probably will be. So Washington at the Giants. I am going with Washington. Eric?
Yeah, I mean, Washington wasn't that impressive last week, but the Giants are not great. I thought the Giants actually coached a really good game. I thought Dable had a good game. I thought he coached and his schemes were good. But I just don't – I'm going to go Washington because I just don't trust that in key situations that they're not going to do something like we need a 2-point conversion and we're going to line up our entire half the field and they're not going to move. I don't trust them. So I'll go Washington.
I mean, I'm going to go with Washington, but I got to say, I don't like the way Washington – I mean, I do, but, I mean, they held Caleb Williams in that offense in check for like 4.5 quarters. So
4.5
or 3.5, whatever, 4.5. What you know what I meant?
9.5 quarters. They didn't score.
But no,
they almost won the game.
I am going to take Washington. I think this will be Danny Dimes' last game before Drew Lock comes in, though.
All right. So let's go to Eric, right? You're going to go New Orleans at Carolina. And yes, sorry, Paoli and Nick, you have Washington. I got you. New Orleans at Carolina.
Oh, my God. That's such a bad one.
Why the fuck don't we get ice cream?
Oh, that's terrible. Carolina and the Saints. Is the game at the Saints?
No, Saints at Panthers.
Oh my God. I don't even know. Like, this is bad because is Carr back?
Yep.
He's
Hey.
questionable.
Okay, I'll take the Saints.
I would have taken the Saints if Taysom Hill was the quarterback. Carolina sucks. The fact that Denver scored 28 points and J.C. Horn was yelling because they were trying to run up the score, like Sean Payton said, your offense is bad. I mean, really. I mean, yeah. I don't give a shit. Spencer Rattler could start. Jake Hayner could start. Give me the Saints.
All right, I'm going Saints, and Paoli has still yet to go. So we'll wait for him for a second. But okay, so the next one, here we go, David. Denver at Baltimore.
Oh man! Whoa. I'm taking Baltimore because they're in Baltimore. And I think Baltimore's pissed. So I'm taking Baltimore.
I'm taking Baltimore. Eric?
Every fiber of my being wants to take the Denver Broncos, but I want to do it so bad, but I'm gonna go this. I have a feeling that Baltimore and Pittsburgh is going to come down to the wire, so I'm going to go the Ravens.
Okay. All right. So Paoli's just catching up to us, and there he goes. He totally caught up. Okay. So to me, Chicago at Arizona. Oh, Jesus.
That's a tough one, too.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
Not really. All Arizona has to do is put the Hail Mary in the game plan, and it's over.
Yeah. We just make sure we box out, and we get a guy to the left or a guy behind, and we tip the ball to him. While the other guy looks like an ass taunting the fans.
Okay, so here it is. This Sunday, Chicago is at Arizona, and that's my girlfriend's team. And then the following week, the Jets are at Arizona. So I'm hoping for 2 nice weekends in a row. And I'm going to go Chicago on this one. Eric.
Sean, I don't want to be that guy.
You are that guy?
I'm going to be that guy. I'm taking Arizona.
Okay.
Yes, well, I will be at this game because Chicago is my son-in-law's favorite team. So I will be down at this game watching it in person. And Caleb Williams looked like shit last week. He really did. And Kyler Murray's been on a roll. I'm taking Arizona. Friggin' James Conner's a beast.
All right. And Nick and Hot Pockets have Chicago. Detroit at Green Bay, Eric.
Yeah, so I hinted to it. I'm going to go Packers. My cousin Knuckles.
You guys talk about that for 30 seconds. I got to quick handle something in the kitchen. I'll be back in 10 seconds.
Which game is this? Green Bay
and the Lions. Who you got?
Oh, I'm going Detroit. I'm sorry. They are the team to beat in the NFC this year, and I don't care if Malik Willis or Jordan Love are starting. Their team is just too tough. I know they whipped Tennessee that has no team, but they've beaten teams this year handily that are good teams. So not to take anything away from Green Bay, but Detroit is just balling, man. And I love Dan Campbell. I think he does amazing things with this team. So yeah, I'm taking Detroit.
All right, you're taking Detroit, and Nick's got Green Bay, and Paley's got Detroit. I am going Detroit. Okay, so Rams at Seattle. This is actually a good game. The way it's been going. David.
Puka's back, Kupp is back, Stafford's back, Karen Williams is back. The Rams are winning.
Okay. Paoli's got Seattle. I am going Rams.
Nick has the Rams.
All right, thank you. And Eric.
If this falls my way with the way we're picking, I could if it doesn't fall my way, it's over. So I'm eliminated. I'm going to Cancun. But if it does, I could be in first place because I'm taking a lot of different games. I'm gonna go with Pioli. I'm gonna go Seattle.
Okay. Well, Eric, I hate to tell you, your season was over 3 weeks ago. But anyway, you've been in the Cancun room for as long as the.
Wait, no, Pioli changed his pick to the Rams.
I'm 4 games behind Dave, and I think I can make that up this week.
Not a
It's possible, but
he just wants to make sure none of us get whitewashed. So he's picking the opposite game just so that at least somebody's going to win.
Wow, Paoli. Well, actually, the Rams because of that. Are you serious, Mike? Because I will switch it to the Rams. Just let me know.
Okay, so to me, Jacksonville at Philly. I'm the Philly without a doubt.
I forgot who cut back.
Okay, so Paoli is going to switch from Seattle to the Rams.
I'm gonna stay.
Okay.
I'm staying.
You gonna stay with him?
I'm gonna stay
on an island.
There you go. So Jacksonville at Philadelphia. Who you go with there?
Oh God, it's at Philadelphia. Give me Philly.
Philly, come on, man, go on that island again.
Yeah, see,
I don't even need to know Paoli's answer to this one.
Eric's like, I'll go on an island, but I ain't going on Gilligan's Island. That's
I'm not going on that island. I'm not going on Jags. No way.
All right, Eric.
And the last thing of the game, the last one, Tampa Bay at Kansas City.
Who's up?
Monday Night Football, Eric.
Oh God, do I want to do it? There's a part of me that I mean, Tampa Bay needs to win. Kansas City's 7-0, and they haven't looked great. Like Kansas City, their defense is great. Nick took Tampa Bay. I can't. I'm going Kansas City.
Yeah, the Chiefs just traded for John Uche from the Patriots. DeAndre Hopkins will have 2 weeks of practices in that offense. But Tampa Bay still played good even without their wide receivers. Oh, man, this is tough. And they're playing in Tampa?
No, they're playing at KC.
Oh, shit, never mind. The Chiefs.
I mean, the Tampa's desperate here, and the Chiefs are not going to be desperate, but, I mean.
They find a way to win.
This could be a trap game for Kansas City. But no.
They're going to win this one. There's going to be some stupid trap game. I can see Denver being a trap game. That'll be next week in week 10. But anyway, all right. So there we go. We've gone through all the pick'ems. We've gone through everything we have to tonight. Does anyone have a last word, or do we just want to wrap it up and let everyone get to sleep because it is Halloween week?
Yeah, I do have the last word. Go ahead, Eric. You can say first. Go ahead.
Hey, for all of our viewers tonight, it was fun. Thanks for your Nick, send it to the email ftcsports1@gmail.com. Send your address because you were wild on your picks, but thanks for all the participation. The questions were great. The picks were great. It was really fun to kind of communicate with you guys, and come on back next week when I go from last place to just a couple games behind Sean.
Now, my last word is really something we didn't touch on, and that was something that was brought up during the thing. The Anthony Richardson taking himself out of the game. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, guys, just because really, I understand he's a young quarterback, but that is the one position where you don't tap out. You are the leader of your team. You are. I don't know if he ever did that in college. If his conditioning is that bad that he has to tap out after he had to scramble twice, either blame the player, of course, or blame your conditioning staff that you don't have this guy working out on his cardio every day. But again, it's just a bad look. And, you know, he's going to ride the bench. I don't think he makes it back onto the field this year with Joe Flacco there. And I think it calls into question seriously his future in Indianapolis. You know, I don't know if they can move forward with somebody who would quit on the team unless he does a lot of groveling and he shows a lot of leadership in between. I just don't know how you come back from that if you're a young guy like Richardson. Any thoughts on that?
Soft. His kids nowadays, and he's part of that younger generation, they're soft. And I don't know if it's 2020, the lack of human interaction in 2020, or what we've turned into. We got all the cell phones, and we're not just as tough. But when we were kids, like you'd have to kill us to come off the field. You'd have to kill us to get us to quit things. You know, we had that competitive edge. That competitive edge is lacking in a lot of situations where these kids are mentally, and Richardson is a kid. He's like 23, 24 years old, but it's soft. You know, you've got teammates depending on you. You're in a leadership position. You need to go out there and lead. In a moment like that, of what your teammates watching you do what you do, that is deflating to your teammates. It's derogatory towards your teammates. You know, as one of the guys out there, you know, that's out there with football, you know, I'm out there. I'm going to do what's needed. I'm going to do what's required. I'm going to do things that I don't want to do, but if that's what the team needs me to do, I'm going to do it. And it's because it's about your group of guys, about your brothers. And Richardson was not about his brothers; he's about himself on that play, and that's why he's benched. Good on Indianapolis for doing that. And if they're going to salvage their season, it's not going to be with that guy, anyways. It'll be with Flacco. So good on Indianapolis for doing what they did. But as far as this next generation, those are your brothers out there that you're playing with. And when you let down your brothers, you're accountable for that.
Can I go ahead, Sean? Go ahead. Do you have anything?
Yes, I do. Inexcusable.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I could describe it. And the only person who should be saying, but I'm tired, is George Thorogood before he has one shot, one bourbon, and one beer.
Can I ask you guys one question though about that? Now he was injured at the beginning of the year, or he got injured and Flacco came in. What was his injury that he was out for?
Stinger.
Okay. But more importantly, he was out all last year because of his concussion, right? Now, me being epileptic and me having to deal with neurological situations and with understanding how epilepsy works and how your body can do and feel certain ways based on hyperventilation, breathing too heavy, breathing too hard. And it's something that probably hasn't been talked about by anybody. They just look at this guy who pulled himself out of a game. Okay. When you get concussions, you can be prone to neurological symptoms that normal folks don't understand or realize. So, and he hasn't come out and said, I was feeling like that because of blah, 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 blah. But do you think maybe that might be an underlying issue as to his lack of energy, maybe the hyperventilation from being winded, could cause him to feel a certain way. And I'm not trying to make an excuse because on the field, you're the quarterback. But there could be an underlying thing that maybe we don't know about, or maybe he hasn't disclosed or the team hasn't disclosed.
Dave, if that was true, they wouldn't bench him. They'd have made some excuse up. The fact that the Colts are like he's going to the bench means there's nothing wrong with this guy. He's just soft.
Well, again, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just wondering if it could be a symptom because, like I said, having those issues myself, I know what can trigger those things. And with head injuries, hyperventilation, that kind of stuff can cause certain things like that to occur.
You're not wrong, but I mean that, like I said, if the Colts, if unless Irsay's an asshole, and he might be, I mean there is 100% he might be an asshole, but if the Colts doctor said he's fine and he was
Mhm.
checked out that he's fine and there is no medical report, or they put him on IR. If they put him on IR, yeah, I buy your thing. Like he's on it. He's got some major stuff going on, but they didn't put him on IR. They just
Mhm.
said he's not starting and he's going to be the backup behind Flacco. That tells me that
Sure.
he did it himself.
All right. So let's wind this up. First of all, happy Halloween to everybody. And we're going to give it off to a special guest star to say goodnight for us here. Hey, yeah, I'm Jeff. Bullshit. Whatever he said is bullshit. Happy Halloween. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you next week from the couch.
Good night.